Imagine being the son of a legend, carrying a last name that echoes across football history. Your father is Deion, Coach Prime Sanders, a Hall of Famer, a man who defined swagger on the field. Your brother, Shedeur, just heard his name called in the draft. And you're still waiting, still hoping. The 2025 NFL Draft ends, and 32 teams pass you by. But hours later, everything changes. On a live stream watched by nearly 1 million people, Shiloh makes a bold move. He fires his father as his agent, admitting that hasn't been working too well. Instead, he hires Drew Rosenhaus, one of the most powerful agents in the game. The gamble pays off immediately. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers call. They offer him a 3-year deal worth nearly $3 million. For an undrafted rookie, it's a dream. But here's the reality. Only $1,572 is guaranteed. Every practice, every snap, every moment will decide if the deal means anything at all.
At first, it looked like Shiloh Sanders had found his place. He showed up to rookie minicamp in Tampa Bay and immediately turned heads. Coaches praised his communication on the field, his ability to line up teammates, and his confidence calling plays. Todd Bowles, a defensive mastermind who rarely hands out compliments, said, "He's intelligent, he's loud, and he's already making calls on day one." For an undrafted rookie, that kind of praise was gold. Reporters noted his sharp footwork and leadership, pointing out that he looked ahead of schedule compared to other first-year players. Even fans online shared clips, calling him Tampa Bay's most exciting underdog story. Then came the viral moment. In his first preseason game against Tennessee, Shiloh broke through and delivered Tampa's first quarterback hit of the night. The clip spread instantly, with Bowles saying he played tough and did his job well. For a moment, the dream felt real. Shiloh wasn't just fighting for a roster spot anymore. He was proving that maybe, just maybe, he belonged in the NFL.
But the NFL is never easy. No matter how well Shiloh started, the reality was brutal. Tampa Bay's safety room was already loaded. Antoine Winfield Jr., an all-pro fresh off a massive extension, had his spot locked. Tyke Smith was shifting into safety with big expectations. Christian Ezien had already impressed coaches enough to guarantee his place. That left Shiloh fighting for scraps, buried on the depth chart as a third stringer. His competition, other hungry undrafted rookies like Kavon Merriweather and Rashad Wisdom, each battling for what might be just one available roster spot. Todd Bowles made it clear before the final preseason game. This was the week that would decide everything. Shiloh's margin for error was razor thin. Every snap, every tackle, every read on the field mattered. For Tampa's veterans, it was another exhibition game. For Shiloh Sanders, it was survival. 60 minutes of football would determine whether he'd live out his dream or watch it disappear before it ever really began. August 23rd, Tampa Bay's last preseason game against the Buffalo Bills. For Shiloh Sanders, this was it. His final audition. Coaches were watching closely, knowing roster cuts were only hours away. But from the start, things went wrong. Early in the game, he was flagged for pass interference, a penalty that set up a Bills touchdown. Later, he slipped on coverage, missed tackles, and looked out of rhythm. Still, there was time to recover. All he needed was one strong play to shift momentum back in his favor. Instead, disaster struck. Midway through the second quarter, locked up in coverage against tight end Zach Davidson, the two tangled down the field. After the whistle, Davidson kept blocking aggressively, fingers brushing Shiloh's face mask. In a split second of frustration, Shiloh snapped. He threw a punch straight at Davidson's helmet. The referee saw it. Instantly, unnecessary roughness, ejection, and on the very next play, Buffalo punched in another touchdown. For Shiloh, his dream season had just collapsed in 3 seconds. The stage was set. August 23rd, Tampa Bay, against the Buffalo Bills. For most players, it was just another preseason game. For Shiloh Sanders, it was everything. This was his final audition, his one chance to prove he deserved a roster spot. But almost immediately, things went wrong. Early in the game, he was flagged for pass interference, a penalty that set up a Buffalo touchdown. On other plays, he slipped, missed tackles, and looked a step behind. Each mistake chipped away at the slim opportunity he had left. Still, there was time to recover, time to make one play that could redeem the night. Then came the moment that changed everything. Locked in coverage against tight end Zach Davidson, Shiloh got tangled in heavy contact, hands to the face mask. Pushing, grabbing, the kind of fight that happens on every drive. But instead of walking away, Shiloh snapped. He cocked back and threw a punch, right at Davidson's helmet. The referee saw it instantly. Unnecessary roughness. Automatic ejection. The reaction was immediate. Todd Bowles, usually calm and measured, looked furious on the sideline. Cameras caught him shaking his head, arms crossed, visibly frustrated at what he had just seen. After the game, when reporters asked about Shiloh, Bowles didn't hold back. "You can't throw punches in this league. That's inexcusable. They'll get you every time. You've got to grow from that." Inexcusable. One word that summed up how serious the mistake was. Less than 24 hours later, Adam Schefter broke the news. The Buccaneers had waived Shilo Sanders. Just like that, his NFL dream collapsed. The contract that once looked like nearly $3 million disappeared. The only part guaranteed, the tiny $15.57 was all he had left. His agents tried to soften the blow, releasing a statement hoping another team would claim him off waivers. But deep down, everyone knew the truth. In the NFL, you don't get many chances, and when you blow one this badly, it can be the end before it ever really starts. As shocking as the punch was, it wasn't the first time Shilo Sanders had let anger ruin everything. Back in 2015, when he was only 15 years old, he allegedly attacked a security guard at his Dallas high school after the guard tried to confiscate his phone. Court documents claimed Shiloh elbowed the man in the chest, knocked him down, and continued to hit him. The injuries were devastating. A broken neck, spinal damage, permanent nerve problems, even incontinence. Years later, when the case finally reached trial in 2022, Shiloh didn't even show up. The court hit him with a default judgment, $11.89 million owed in damages. In 2023, he filed for bankruptcy, claiming he only made $103,000 in NIL deals, far below what fans imagined. That massive debt already hung over him. Before he stepped onto an NFL field, the league contract could have been his lifeline, his chance to chip away at a mountain of financial ruin. Instead, with one reckless punch, he piled fresh disaster on top of old mistakes. NFL insiders explained just how fragile Shiloh's situation really was. On paper, his deal looked like nearly $3 million. In reality, it was smoke and mirrors. With only $1,572 guaranteed, Tampa Bay could cut him at any moment without consequence. Other undrafted rookies that year had signed with far larger guarantees, $250,000 or even $300,000 locked in, giving them a cushion and a real shot at the roster. Shiloh had none of that. His contract left him with zero margin for error, and yet, he made the biggest error possible. One penalty, one ejection, and suddenly the math was simple. He wasn't worth the risk. For a coach like Todd Bowles, who runs one of the league's most disciplined locker rooms, the decision was easy. Why keep a third-string safety who lost his composure in a meaningless preseason game? Shiloh had been given a chance most undrafted players never see. And in 3 seconds of pure emotion, he threw it all away. The timing made it sting even worse. On the very same day, Shiloh got ejected. His brother Shedeur struggled in his preseason debut for the Cleveland Browns. The difference, though, was obvious. Shedeur had been drafted, secured a real contract, and had time to develop. A bad game for him wasn't the end. But Shiloh, he had no such safety net. He was undrafted, unproven, and on the bubble from the moment he signed. One mistake could end it all, and that's exactly what happened. It highlighted the brutal reality of the NFL. Draft status matters, contract guarantees matter, and discipline matters most of all. While Shedeur would return to practice the next week and keep building his future, Shiloh woke up unemployed, facing not just the loss of his NFL dream, but the weight of almost $12 million in debt. Two brothers, two very different roads, one with time to recover, and one whose chance had already slipped away. The truth about the NFL is harsh. It's a business where every roster spot is priceless. Todd Bowles wasn't just evaluating talent. He was sending a message to the entire team. If a veteran loses his temper in December, that's one thing. But a rookie on the bubble, in a preseason game against backups, that's different. Coaches can't afford players who self-destruct when the pressure rises. If Shiloh stayed, what message would that send? That losing control was acceptable, that discipline didn't matter. For a locker room chasing another Super Bowl run, Bowles couldn't take that risk, and the rest of the league took note. Teams aren't lining up to sign a player with no guarantees, a history of anger issues, and millions in legal debt. Maybe he lands on a practice squad. Maybe another league takes him. But the NFL is unforgiving. One bad choice, one punch, and sometimes there is no second chance. In the end, Shiloh Sanders' downfall wasn't about bad luck, injuries, or being outplayed by better talent. It was self-inflicted. He had the name, the spotlight, and an opportunity most undrafted players never get. Coaches praised him, fans rallied around him, and even the media gave him attention others would only dream of. All he had to do was keep his composure for one more game. 60 minutes of discipline could have changed his life. Instead, 3 seconds of anger destroyed everything. From a $3 million contract to nothing. From the son of Coach Prime chasing an NFL dream to another cautionary tale about wasted potential. Shiloh's story is proof that in this league, talent isn't enough, legacy isn't enough. You need discipline, you need control. Because in the NFL, you are always one mistake away from unemployment. And for Shiloh Sanders, that mistake came in front of the world, ending his career before it ever really began.